International students, Indians in the US, I have some massive good news for you today. Who thought that the Trump administration would do something that would help you out indirectly? Well, that's what's happening. So let me talk to you about that. So the administration has now released something called as the HIRE Act, Halting International Relocation of Employment Act. Now, this is yet to be approved, but I have a very strong gut feeling that this will be approved, just like the one big beautiful bill as well. In a nutshell, this is what the act tells you. If you're an American company, until now, if you had to build a massive software, instead of doing it in the US, many companies would outsource that to an Indian company. What kind of companies? You know it. TCS, Wipro, Infosys, all these companies would have bulk hiring done within India. They would hire people who are basically fresh college graduates for a very low salary of 4 or 5 LPA max to max. And then these Indian graduates would be working on these American applications for these big corporations for a fraction of the cost at what it would have been if you had basically done this whole operation in the US. So instead of basically creating the whole website, whole application, whole AI software in the US, they outsource it to an Indian company which does it in India, and then of course it's software, so it can be done online. They ship it, end of story, cheaply done. That was being done till now, but under the HIRE Act 2025, this will stop. You know why? Because they're applying a 25% tariff, 25% basically additional tax on such operations. So if US companies are building a software and the consumers in the US essentially, and they outsource that to, let's say, an Indian IT company, they would have to pay 25% tariff to the US government itself first off. And it doesn't just stop here. On top of this, now these expenses which they are making, right? Earlier they could be shown as tax deductible expenses. Like, these expenses were as a part of the business and they are tax deductible. So the companies would not pay taxes on whatever they've spent during this process. However, now these would also not be tax deductible. So it sort of compounds, and if you really do the calculation, it becomes 60% costlier now to hire people out of India than it used to be before. Now here's what's even crazier. If you run the calculations, you'll realize that all these tech Indian companies are certainly cheaper, but not 60% cheaper. So what's going to happen is that either these US corporations will try to negotiate the contract values with Indian companies that, hey, it should be cheaper because we have now taxes, all this. Chances are the Indian companies will not bend because they also have to pay salaries, they also have to generate profits, and of course their stocks will go down as long as, of course, this act becomes public. So in a nutshell, what these American corporations will be forced to do is to hire more people within the US. And what kind of people will they hire? Well, all kinds of people, but we already know that the US does not have such a strong IT front that they have enough people that are just available within the economy. You don't just find people on the street who are developers. Yes, there are many people, but at the same point in time, quite some of them are immigrants, right? However, the Trump administration has not supported the immigrants. H-1B program is going down the drain. You're talking about making it salary-based. Fresh graduates almost have no chance of getting these jobs, whereas these companies do require fresh graduates. That is the whole reason why the H-1B was started, because of the shortage of labor. Now, you're creating another shortage of labor if you think about it. These companies find it costly to outsource the labor, so they have to hire in-house. That means they're going to have to find new ways to keep these students or keep these Indian professionals within the country. Now, of course, with the H-1B stable and Elon Musk being sued just because he's hiring H-1Bs instead of American workers, most employers today, they don't want to sponsor you. If you pick up a call, the first thing the employer tells you is that, sorry, we can't sponsor you, we can't take on a candidate who we have to sponsor, not only today, but also in 2 years, even if you're on a STEM OPT. That means employers are against sponsorship, and it's for good reason. They are scared of the administration as of today. And on top of it, the H-1B might be salary-based tomorrow, so they need to pay you a really high salary within the US to be able to keep you, which defeats, again, the purpose of, whether they should outsource, maybe they should just do that. That's what they're going to think. So I feel that if you are going to the US in 2025, 6, 7, in the next 10 years, the visa that's going to take position, I would say, above the H-1B at this point is going to be the O-1 visa, because that's where you have pure talent, displacing American people, of course, displacing American workers still, but because you guys have talent, some specific talent that you have, which is not present in the US already. Now, that is exactly how American corporations will, in the next 10 years, secure talent. And I feel that the O1 visa is going to be a big win for anyone who already starts building their profile for it. And many of you might already be eligible. You can just find out by going on to YMGrad.com. You'll find my chat box over there. Upload your resume or send me a LinkedIn link, and I'll let you know personally whether you're already eligible or what you can do to become eligible. But this is happening. People are moving towards the O1. More and more corporations are now opening up to it. and you will see more and more sponsorship happening in this pathway. Not to mention that even Indians, and if you're not an Indian, then in less than 1 year you can get a green card using this pathway. It's called the EB1, which comes from the O1 itself. And if you're Indian, even then within 3 years, it looks like you can get a green card as of today. So that is the good news for international students, Indians in the US. Let me know what you think of this pathway now. And of course, the Hire Act has not passed yet, but we have a strong gut feeling that it might. And of course, I'll await your comments. There's a lot more like this. We do a lot more content on Instagram, so make sure you follow me over there. It's also in Hindi. And of course, subscribe to the channel here. Sign up on YMGrad.com. We'll send you a free guide on how you can qualify for the O1 if you're not already qualified. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, goodbye and take care.